Hey Mabel, you ready to do another video? Did you prepare your lines? Do you want to just go back to bed? That's okay too. Standing desk turning into a sitting desk. I don't know why I already started filming while I'm still eating this rice cake and drinking this hot chocolate. And that's hot chocolate made out of coffee and protein powder, because today we're talking about protein. Again, so yesterday on the channel, we talked about how you can start incorporating more protein into your diet through my top 5 favorite protein sources to help you hit your daily protein targets. I recommend a daily protein target of about 1 gram per pound of lean body mass per day, or 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of lean body mass per day. And if you don't know how to find your lean body mass, watch yesterday's video. I'll link it above and in the description below. For today, we're just gonna talk about the top 5 overrated sources of protein that people often turn to when they want to try to hit their protein targets, but little do they know, these foods that they think are full of protein are actually just full of fat and carbs. When I talk about protein sources, I'm talking about things that are mostly protein. That means most of the calories in the food are coming from the macronutrient protein. There are 3 macronutrients: protein, carbs, and fats, and alcohol. There are 4 macronutrients. Typically, we only want to focus on 3 for the majority of our diet. Am I right? This is just hot chocolate, I swear. Now, a lot of the foods we're going to talk about today are actually rather healthy foods that I would recommend you incorporate into an overall healthy diet. But if you're picking that food because you think it's a source of protein, you might be a little misguided due to mainstream media or just some standard folklore about these foods. Like, I don't know where people are coming up with these ideas. And the first item on the list is a great example of this: nuts and their blended butters. Now, when a lot of people are trying to bulk up, the first thing they turn to is peanut butter. They eat it straight out of the jar because they think it's full of protein. Now, it's okay to eat peanut butter straight out of the jar because you know that it's full of calories. For just 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, you're almost at 200 calories. So let's take a look at Jif peanut butter. And I'm gonna be looking over here. I got a screen over here. I'm checking out nutrition facts for different peanut butters because I don't have any Jif on hand. I actually have organic creamy peanut butter. The only ingredient is peanuts and sea salt. But most people are not gonna eat peanut butter that is just peanuts and sea salt. A lot of people think it doesn't taste good. I think it tastes great. It's really thick, so you gotta take it down with some milk or something, but A+. Anywho, industry standard, Jif. For 2 tablespoons of Jif peanut butter, you're looking at about 190 calories, 7 grams of carbs, 7 grams of protein, and 16 grams of fat. This is mostly fat, which isn't a problem. I mean, it's mostly healthy fats. Peanut butter is a generally healthy source of fat. Yes, that is true. Peanut butter is perfectly fine to include in your overall healthy diet, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. But if you're looking for a source of protein, you could easily replace this standard Jif peanut butter with something equally as delicious for way less calories and way more protein, such as PB Fit. You can do any peanut butter powder. You can do PB Fit, you can do PB2. Let's break this down. For the same amount, for 2 tablespoons, you are looking at 70 calories, 2 grams of fat, 5 grams of carbohydrates, and 8 grams of protein. So this is mostly protein. That's a protein source. Regular peanut butter is mostly fat. This is mostly protein. And just for an example, some people also think that Nutella is a source of protein that they can be consuming in the morning to start their day. Let's break down Nutella. Just 2 tablespoons, you are looking at 200 calories, 11 grams of fat, 22 grams of carbohydrates, 21 of which are coming from sugar, and 3 grams of protein. Nutella is like 0 protein. But since I love Nutella, I went ahead and made my own DIY Nutella recipe that I will share in the next few days on this channel. So that Nutella nutrition that I just read you is coming from 2 tablespoons of Nutella. That's about 37 grams. This recipe that I make comes out to about 100 grams. Their 37 gram serving came out to 200 calories. My 100 gram serving only comes out to 165 calories. So we got way more volume for way less calories. We're also talking about 16.5 grams of carbs, 4.5 grams of fat, and 23 grams of protein. So that is 20 more grams of protein, way less calories, way more volume of food. You just gotta do things the right way. Your life can still be delicious and high protein. And before we move on to the next one, yes, people can bulk on peanut butter if you just wanna get tons and tons of extra calories. Though I would argue if you're eating tons and tons of extra calories and you don't have some sort of thyroid condition that causes you to need way more calories to build muscle, if you're not the hardest of hard gainers, you don't need to be shoveling peanut butter into your face every day, and you can get healthy fats from plenty of other sources, especially even in the nut family, because peanut butter is a legume. It's not even a nut. Peanut butter drives me crazy because it's like a nut in disguise. It's not what you think it is. It's deceiving you. It's a legume. You'd be better off from getting your micronutrients, your vitamins and your minerals, and your healthy fats from literally any other nut. So like pecans, Brazil nut, especially macadamia nuts. Macadamia nuts are super high in monounsaturated fat. You could also get pistachios, hazelnuts, literally anything. Just know that when you blend it into a nut butter, it becomes way easier to overconsume. General rule of thumb that I like to apply to nuts is that they used to come in shells. Remember that when you're eating nuts. A simple handful of nuts is an easy 200 calories, which is fine and healthy, but just keep that in mind when it's blended into a nut butter. 1 tablespoon goes a really long way, especially when they're throwing in a bunch of sugar. What you want to do is focus on the blended nut butters that are just nuts and salt, or nuts and no salt, but I like me some salt. All right, let's get into the next one. 2 little yogurt cup things. The little yogurt cup things. Everyone thinks that they got themselves a nice little convenient, portable, healthy, high protein lunch option, you know, a little snack to add in the middle of your day. I don't have a yogurt cup on hand. I like to get an actual tub of yogurt and just have it that way. You know, you get the plain kind and you just zhuzh it up on your own. But if you're into the yogurt cups, I know the industry standard is like the Yoplait ones. So let's dive into that. So the little Yoplait to go things are about 3/4 of a cup of yogurt, or about 170 grams. Now this comes out to about 170 calories for only 5 grams of protein because it is loaded with sugar. And I know you're thinking that's just the Yoplait. I get the Chobani. I get the Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is the stuff you recommended, right? Well, let's take a look at the Chobani just to clear this up. So for the Chobani to go cups, you're looking at even less than 3/4 of a cup of yogurt. It's about 150 grams of yogurt. And this is packing 120 calories for only 12 grams of protein because it has 15 grams of sugar. So the Chobani yogurt is more carbs and sugar than it is protein. So that is not a protein source. Again, we're looking for things that are mostly protein. That's why I recommend the tub of plain Greek yogurt. In 3/4 of a cup of this, you're looking at 90 calories, only 6 carbohydrates, no fat, and 16 grams of protein because we only have 4 grams of sugar rather than the Chobani and Yoplait, which had upwards of 16 to 20 something grams of sugar. We only got 4 grams of sugar in this, and it's coming from lactose. So take that extra 5 minutes out of your day, get your yogurt out of the tub, put it in a bowl, mix in some berries, mix in some sweeteners, mix in some protein powder, zhuzh it up on your own, throw some nuts on top of it. It's up to you to zhuzh it up. Chobani does not care if you have a 6-pack, but I do. Chobani is gonna zhuzh it up in a way that totally destroys your health, but you can zhuzh it up on your own and literally change your life by changing the way you zhuzh your food. So how do you guys like to zhuzh up your yogurt? Let me know in the comments what the best zhuzhing methods for yogurt are. And that being said, I gotta go take a call with the client right now, so when I return, we will be back with highly overrated protein source number 3.
Later that same evening.
We are back, and you know who needs some peanut butter for their lean bulking phase? Come on up. Here, go to your chair. High five. Good girl. All right, where were we? Sparkling water, apple cider vinegar for the win. Yes, I am wearing the same hoodie from yesterday. That is something that I do. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. No heart-healthy breakfast is complete without the inclusion of the ultimate source of protein, the egg. So what are eggs? It's the thing inside of this shell that comes outside of a chicken's butt. It's got these 2 parts. It's got the white and it's got the yolk. The white contains all the protein, the yolk contains all the fat. Nothing wrong with the fat, it's actually pretty healthy fat. But let's dissect this optimal source of protein down to the macronutrient level to figure out if it's really a high quality source of protein. In one large egg, which comes out to about 33 grams once it's cracked in a pan or in your mouth if you're just going Rocky style, you're gonna get 70 calories, no carbs, hashtag keto, 6 grams of protein, and 5 grams of fat. Now that does sound like more protein than fat coming from your egg, but when you actually break it down to the percentage of calories that you're getting from both protein and fat, it turns out that this is actually more fat than it is protein. What? You said it's 6 grams of protein and 5 grams of fat. That's more protein than fat. Not really. Protein comes out at 4 calories per gram, while fat comes out at 9 calories per gram. So when we break down the egg, what we're really looking at is a 70 calorie egg that comes out to about 25 calories from protein and 45 calories from fat. You're actually getting more fat from the eggs than you are protein. If you're just focused on protein and nothing else, you could replace your whole eggs with egg whites. Now, in order to make this equal, we gotta look at 70 calories of egg whites, which is actually gonna be like 152 grams of egg whites. So already off the bat, way more volume, way more quantity of egg whites in 70 calories. So in 70 calories of egg whites, you're getting no carbs, no fat, and 16 grams of protein. So all 70 calories are coming from protein. It's 100% protein. And I just looked up this chart here from Kate's Nutrition comparing egg whites to whole eggs. Now what I just did was I made things equal and compared 70 calories of egg whites to 70 calories of whole egg. What they're doing is just comparing one whole egg to one egg white. And you can see here that when you just get the egg white with the yolk removed, you're getting way less calories, a little less protein, 0 fat, no cholesterol, and no B vitamins, and no selenium. Eggs are a delicious and nutritious staple for your breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever. You don't have to just have eggs in the morning. You can have them whenever you want. But if you want to replace it with a little higher protein option, you can go for egg whites. Just know that you're missing out on those vitamins and cholesterol, and know that you might get some digestional issues from the egg whites. They might turn you into a French horn, and if that happens, be honest about it and stop eating egg whites unless you don't care about excess flatulence. Excess flatulence, that's a really scientific way to just say you'll be farting a lot. Mabel, what are you doing? You got eye boogers. Wow, it's just getting gross around here. All right, but while we're talking about this whole breakfast concept, I have 2 honorable mentions for you. Honorable mention number 1, avocado. I don't know why, but I've heard from several different people that their avocado toast is protein. I'm sorry, but no. Your bread is all carbs. Your avocado is all fat. It's hardly any protein. Now, in just one avocado, you are getting 330 calories, of which you'll have 17 grams of carbs, 4 grams of protein, and 29 grams of fat. This is definitely mostly fat, but it's mostly very healthy fat. I mean, it's all monounsaturated. It's the good stuff that you want to be consuming. And now for our next honorable mention, bacon. And just no, it's not that much protein. It's mostly fat, mostly saturated fat. There are better sources of fat out there. And I know that you can lose weight on your keto diet eating bacon 5 times a day because you happen to be in a calorie deficit that's actually driving the weight loss. But before I get an army of keto enthusiasts coming after me, let's move on to the next one. Overrated protein source number 4, ground beef. When most people buy ground beef, they go for the 80-20, which is quite healthier than the 70-30. So 80-20 is 80% lean and 20% fat. Now, I know this sounds pretty lean and by weight, but when we actually look at the macronutrient breakdown of this meat, it's a little different story. So in a 4-ounce serving of lean ground beef, you are looking at 300 calories, no carbs, hashtag keto, 22 grams of protein, and 23 grams of fat. From a 500-foot view, that protein and fat count seem pretty similar, but when we actually break it down into calories, it's a different story. So of those 300 calories, we're talking about 90 calories from protein and 210 calories from fat. So when you eat a burger, you're getting way more calories from fat than you are from protein. It's mostly fat. The saturated fat from beef is not the end of the world. It's not gonna clog your arteries like people would have had you believe in the past. But you gotta remember that if you're buying factory farmed beef, that fat is coming from cows that are probably on a bunch of hormones and antibiotics and a bunch of other chemicals. A lot of that stuff gets stored in the fat of the animal, which is why I'm usually usually a proponent of getting your fat from other sources like avocados, like olive oil, like nuts, unless you're very particular going for that grass-fed, humanely raised beef. Or if you're like me, you come from a long lineage of hunters and you have a solid year-long hookup of ground venison to cook up. But if you don't have ground venison and you can't make yourself a deer burger, what you can do is go ahead and buy ground chicken or ground turkey. So let's look at a 4-ounce serving of ground chicken. Same serving size, 4 ounces, we're looking at 170 calories, no carbs, 22 grams of protein, and 9 grams of fat. So when you break it down, of that 170 calories, you're looking at 90 calories from the protein and 80 calories from the fat. They are pretty close, but this is still mostly protein, so I would consider this a high protein option rather than the beef, which is a high fat option. You want your protein sources to be mostly protein. And when it comes to me, I'm a much bigger fan of just not going ground and just doing a ton of chicken breast every week and serving it up all week long. More on that in yesterday's video. Let's get into the next one. Overrated source of protein number 5, milk. We've all heard it, milk gives you strong bones and strong teeth and a strong milk mustache and everything else, but it really only has about 8 grams of protein per cup. And this is across the board with all milks. Or at least all milks that come from cows. I'm not gonna dive into goat milk or yak milk or whatever kind of milks you crazy people are drinking these days. When we're talking about cow's milk, we're talking about generally 8 grams of protein per cup. And unless you're lactose intolerant, you should be fine drinking a glass of milk a day, but just know that it's not really a super high source of protein. And I just pulled up this graphic here from fugicate.com, which compares the different types of milk that you could be buying at your local grocery store. Across the board, all milks, 8 grams of protein, 12 grams of carbs, all coming from the sugar lactose, unless it's like a flavored milk like chocolate milk, vanilla milk, strawberry milk. I remember my elementary school, we used to have orange dreamsicle milk, and that stuff was the bomb. But each milk has a different amount of grams of fat, and that's where you get the differences in calories. So in whole milk, you're looking at 150 calories with 8 grams of fat, 2% you're looking at 120 calories with 5 grams of fat, 1% you're looking at 100 calories with 2.5 grams of fat, and skim milk, you're looking at 85 calories with like 0.2 grams of fat. And the flavored milks are generally just some sort of knockoff on the 1% milk with a bunch of added flavors and sugars. And there's nothing really inherently wrong with milk other than the fact that depending on what kind you buy, it's either mostly carbs or mostly fat. Personally, I would rather get my dairy from Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, or just some really stinky cheese. And what I generally do as a replacement for milk is I buy milked nuts. This is a milked nut, and this is a milk nut. Cashew milk and almond milk. And these are my go-to milk replacements. And if you even want to add protein to these milk replacements, you can just throw in a scoop of whey protein powder. And you can definitely handle the extra calories from the protein powder because this is just 25 calories per cup and this is just 30 calories per cup. Now these milked nuts are mostly fat, but that's totally okay because it's the healthy fats that are coming from real nuts. And yeah, the ingredient list is rather long on these milked nuts and they are relatively processed foods. But what you want to make sure is that it's carrageenan and soy free, and you want to make sure that it's not sweetened with sugar because I've seen nut milks that should be 25 calories come out to like 100 calories because they are just milkshakes. Or should I say, nut shakes. And let me just point out that this is not for use as an infant formula. So milk a nut and drink it up, mix in some protein, and you're gonna be fine. Which brings me to the last honorable mention on this list. Final honorable mention, drum roll please, post-workout protein shakes. All of the studies do point to the fact that it is a smart idea to get like 20 to 40 grams of protein in within an hour of working out. If you're really trying to optimize your muscle gain, if you're really trying to make it to that last 10% of gains that you might be missing out on if you don't have all of your ducks in a row. But here's the thing, having that post-workout protein shake does not guarantee that all of your ducks will be in a row. So many people put so much emphasis on having this protein shake immediately after they work out. Your post-workout doesn't even need to be a protein shake. I remember when we just started lifting, me and all my friends, we were like 13 years old, we'd be at the YMCA, and we wouldn't even be able to leave our protein powders in the locker room. We would bring our protein powders into the gym with us. So there'd be a stack of protein powders sitting at the edge of the gym. You're doing your lifts. I mean, Monday is bench day. You make it through the day. And even before your last set, you're getting antsy. You're like, I feel like I'm not anabolic anymore. I gotta scoop some protein. So you got 3 sets left and you're just already mixing up your protein, having yourself a good old time. And you think that's giving you all of the gains in the world, but you don't realize that you might not even be hitting your daily protein target. That is way more important than your post-exercise nutrition. You wanna focus on the big building blocks before you focus on the minutia. You wanna think big picture, not tiny details. Once you are consistently hitting 1 gram of protein per pound of lean body mass per day, then you can worry about protein timing. So until then, focus on getting those top 5 sources of protein in from yesterday's video, and maybe reshift the way you're thinking about these overrated sources of protein mentioned in today's video. And if you're still watching this video, I highly appreciate it. Mabel highly appreciates it. We are making a video every day for the last 30 days of 2020 so that we can hit the ground running in 2021. And if you have anything that you're putting off until next year, I urge you to start now. Yes, it's the holidays. Yes, things are a little crazy. Yes, it's 2020, but I know that there's still plenty of opportunities for you to build up some good habits and routines, show up, do your best, and put one foot in front of the other, just focusing on the little step that you're on, because that is the only step that matters. So let me know if you are doing your own 30-day challenge to make the most of this month, or if you have video ideas for me to make my 30-day challenge easier and more valuable. And until next time, I'm gonna go eat me some eggs and have me some avocado, and I'm gonna know that's mostly fat, but that's okay.